Ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, good day. Welcome back to Mike's Diabetes World. Yeah, a little rough around the edges today. But, it's early, so we're going to do this video. For me, it's early. Now, current blood sugar is at 9.7. If you notice, we have this number 1. If I touch it, it says sensor has 20 hours left. So this time tomorrow, being Monday, it will quit. So I'm going to have to change it tonight, I think. All pretty good. We're taking a look at my pump. Worked quite a bit last night. I was high quite a bit. I don't know why I went high. Like I went really high for me. And you could see my pump was just giving me extra insulin all day. I don't know why. We take a look. We're still sitting at 63. Yes, I did a video earlier. 37% above, 63 in range, and 9.1. Hasn't changed much from the first video I did. It's now 1333. The threes have it. I'm gonna have to work a bit better. Excuse me. Today we're gonna talk to you about the sensible diabetic. Stay tuned and be right What is a sensible diabetic? It sounds very conservative. And I guess for tight diabetes control, you have to be a bit conservative. Now, a lot of times people tend to start playing around the games, or in my day, the big word was cheated. Are you cheating? Or are you playing games? The most sensible thing to say to that is a sensible diabetic is one who doesn't really take chances, that their care is plotted out. So, for example, when I went through school, if my blood sugar started peaking, I would give a shot. I would find that after lunch and then before our exercise or the afternoon, I would end up going very high, and by dinner, I was kind of, oh, I'm thirsty. Let me grab my water. And then study time was a complete write-off. So, without any plan, I just started to give myself shots until it worked. That was not a good thing to do. Looking back at my life, my late teens, early 20s were pretty much a blur in a lot of diabetes care. I did not take care of myself. I learned after that I would have to take care, and I started to. But a lot of the problems I'm facing today with my diabetes, I honestly think was formed those years between when I was diagnosed and 24. So, roughly those 9 years, a lot of times I stopped going to the doctor. I've told you the story why I stopped going to the doctor. I would fiddle around with my insulin, and back then I was on a long acting, or actually, no, it wasn't long, it was an intermediate. It was lantane type insulin, a type of insulin that is very rarely produced. It's used on animals. It's no longer done on humans because we've got these long acting insulins which give better control. That you can mimic a pump if you want, but it requires a lot of attention. I was doing that with short insulin. I would have so much insulin roaring through my body that now I don't feel when I go low. I could sit here and be talking to you and find that my blood sugar, look at this, I'm 10.3. But it could be the other way. It could go down to 2.4. And I could be sitting here having a conversation. I used to inject myself with a lot of insulin. But that was okay because I was eating whatever I wanted to. The problem was I wasn't taking extra insulin. And I ended up being out of control. I've ended up in the hospital, and they thought, finally at 24, I'm gonna follow whatever the doctor says, and I'm gonna do that. Didn't work out that great. I still did that and still ended up in the hospital. I had developed, they used to call brittle. And we talked about this before. Brittle is now called labile. We, or I, for the royal we, I just took insulin. If I started to feel high, I would take insulin. When I started working nights, I'd eat whatever I wanted to, take extra insulin, and end up in the middle of the day trying to sleep, and I was falling out of bed. I can remember calling 911. But back then, it was measured diets, I didn't measure diets. If I wanted the damn donut, I ate the damn donut. Yeah, you can tell by my size. But that may have caused issues now. I've turned out to be one of those diabetics who say, don't let this happen to you. And you know what? I was never going to be that diabetic. When you're young and trying to disguise or hide behind your diabetes, it's become harder and harder to control. I was always felt I couldn't live up to my parents' wishes of a diabetic. That, oh, how's your diabetes going? Oh, fine, oh, fine. Until it wasn't. And then it was a big rigmarole. Let me just say, my eyes are a lot bigger than my stomach. And that's a lot to say. But I felt, yeah, I've got it under control. And then if I had to go to the hospital, it was hard to control me. And that is the labile. But I think I may have brought the brittle or labile on those 9 years. Now, I am a firm believer. Anyone who gets diagnosed with type 1 diabetes should be, for, I don't know, a couple of months at least, be on taking shots daily, doing their finger poke before they automatically go on to the pump. And the reason for this is the pump's great, it does a lot, but if the pump goes down, I know how to medicate myself so that I don't have so much a problem. I will count carbs and know how much insulin I have to give. It requires me to do math, but it works. What is it called? Oh, the guys who made the tap sensors, they're yellow, beeline. You can utilize that to mimic, and it will calculate how much insulin you should be taking based on the information given. That would have been a much more sensible, but we didn't have that. We had urine tests. My urine test, if I decide to do it, was through the roof. And you could just imagine doing urine tests at boarding school. I never did them. My doctor kept saying, well, what's your numbers? When I got out of school and started trying to do urine tests, I got yelled at by a doctor, and we've done that story as well. So I stopped really taking care of my diabetes. That was the most idiotic thing I've ever done. But again, I was trying to please everyone else. My teachers, my parents, any relationships I had were all centered around, are you taking care of your diabetes? The answer was those 9 years? Hell no. And then when I tried to, I couldn't control it. First, it took us a long time to get me into a suitable environment. Right now, I do the actions. My body sometimes decides what not to do. So you have to find how or what in diabetes care is going to have that aha moment so that a person becomes more sensible with their diabetes and stop, shooting up just for the sake of shooting up. Things like if you take insulin, you have to eat. Pure and simple. If I give myself bolus, I have to eat. If I don't, with the pump nowadays, you don't have such a structure. But I'm still here. Know what actions. If I take too much insulin, you're gonna be low. If you take too little, you're gonna go high. A sensible diabetic will do things conservatively. They'll learn how to control their own medications. If my blood sugar runs high for 3 days, on the fourth day, I will modify. Hell, the other diabetics will say, I just give myself extra insulin. Well, no, you're not really going to win. You pay the price eventually. Now, I try to do control. Sometimes I'll hit it right on the nail, but I always try. Doesn't mean it'll always work out. So, if you have a youngster or a teenager who's has diabetes, you've got to get the message that it's for them. Don't do it for me, being the parent. Don't do it for your teacher. Do it for you. It's amazing when your blood sugar is in control, tight control. You feel so much better. Stop playing any games you're playing and work on it. If you're having trouble, if you're doing things like after 24, I did things and my blood sugar wasn't following, but I still tried. That's the important thing. You have to get to where you feel better. I know that feeling. When I get those 100% days, the 24 hours preceding that, I know I feel awesome. So, rules to be a sensible diabetic. Follow your doctor and your game plan. Notice I said yours. Not only your doctor's there as your coach. Set up a diabetes plan with him or her or a nurse practitioner and follow it. Be truthful about your diabetes. If you had a high blood sugar day, don't just say, oh, I don't know. That doesn't work. Now, I'm sorry I got interrupted there, but just be conservative. Have a well thought out plan. And that's why I say discuss with your doctor and do slow steps. Learn all you can about diabetes and why you're actually doing something. And learn how to feel better. Normal blood sugars, you'll feel so much better. Have a great day, and we'll talk again soon. Bye. My email address is Mike's Diabetes World at gmail.com. All one line. Drop me